Shattered Secrets Part 2. Sarah's car sped down the dark, empty road, the streetlights blurring past her. Her mind raced faster than her car. Mary. My baby. Hold on. Her phone sat on the passenger seat, the call with Mary having ended abruptly. Every time she replayed the silence that followed her daughter's scream, a wave of terror crashed over her. As she approached a bend in the road, red and blue lights flashed in her rearview mirror. No, not now, she muttered. She ignored the lights and kept driving. The sirens wailed louder, and the police cruiser accelerated, pulling up alongside her. A voice blared from the loudspeaker. "Pull over to the side of the road." Cursing under her breath, Sarah complied, her hands trembling on the wheel. The officer approached her car, his flashlight blinding her as he motioned for her to roll down the window. "Ma'am, do you know how fast you were going?" he asked sternly. "I'm sorry, officer." Sarah blurted out, "It's an emergency. My daughter's in danger. I have to get to her." The officer frowned, clearly unconvinced. "I understand, but speeding like this puts others in danger. Where's your daughter?" "At her grandma's house, and something is wrong. Please, I need to go!" Sarah pleaded, her voice cracking. Before the officer could respond, her phone buzzed on the seat. She grabbed it without thinking. The notification chilled her blood. Message from Mary. 20 mins until she is dead. Her hand shook as she opened the message. It wasn't Mary's voice memo or typing style. Instead, it was a video. She hesitated for a heartbeat before pressing play. The screen lit up with an image of the living room in her mother's house. The camera panned to Mary, tied to a chair, her eyes wide with fear and tear-streaked cheeks. A figure emerged from the shadows. Her mother. But it wasn't her mother. Her mother's mouth was twisted into a grotesque smile, her lips bloodied from shards of glass embedded in her gums. She leaned close to the camera, whispering in a sing-song voice, "Tick-tock, Sarah. 20 minutes until she's dead." The video ended abruptly. "No," Sarah whispered, gripping the phone tightly. "Ma'am, is everything all right?" the officer asked, his tone softening as he noticed her panic. Sarah looked up at him, her eyes wide. "It's my daughter. She's going to die if I don't get to her now. Please help me." The officer hesitated, clearly unsure what to do. "I'll explain everything on the way," Sarah begged, her voice desperate. "Just please, follow me." The officer sighed, then nodded. "All right, ma'am, lead the way." Sarah didn't wait for another word. She slammed her foot on the gas, the police cruiser's lights flashing behind her as she sped toward the house. The clock on her dashboard read 9:40 p.m. She had 20 minutes. As the house came into view, Sarah felt a wave of dread wash over her. The curtains were drawn, but faint flickers of light danced behind them, as if from candles. The officer pulled up behind her and stepped out of his cruiser, hand resting on his holstered weapon. "Stay here," he said firmly. "No," Sarah said, her voice steady despite the fear in her heart. "I'm not staying." The officer glanced at her, saw the determination in her eyes, and nodded. "Then stay close to me." They approached the front door together. The air felt heavier with every step, a chilling stillness hanging around the house. Sarah reached for the doorknob, but it creaked open before she touched it. Inside, the living room was dimly lit by a circle of candles. At the center of the room sat Mary, still tied to the chair, her head slumped forward. "Mary!" Sarah screamed, rushing forward. "Stop!" the officer barked, grabbing her arm. A low, guttural laugh echoed from the shadows. Sarah's mother stepped into the flickering light, her smile wider than before, her teeth now jagged and blackened. "You're just in time," she purred. "The fun is about to begin." "To be continued."